Welcome to the Make Me Whole podcast. I'm your host, Josette Rosado, and it's time to talk getting past what's difficult, trusting our own abilities to do more, and keeping it that way. Hey there, and welcome back to the next episode. I wanted to address right away the fact that I am truly sorry for the sound quality of my last podcast. We had a lot of internet issues going on, and so I'm hoping we've resolved them by now and we can just get to a better place. So if you've returned for another episode, you're truly a fan, and I appreciate you. Okay, so today we are talking about emotional numbing. I think where we are right now, a lot of people will use the phrase, "it is what it is," or will say, "I just can't," or "I'm over it." We start engaging in things like spending hours in the rabbit hole of TikTok, watching a series over the weekend instead of going outside and breathing in fresh air, kind of keeping to ourselves. It's really set up so that we can try to keep ourselves experiencing any kind of negative feelings. And really, it's not uncommon for us to disconnect. So I don't want to say that you should be around people all the time, every day. This is completely different. And emotional numbness is more like avoiding any kind of negative feelings we think we will run into or don't want to experience. Some of the symptoms include not being able to understand why you feel so bad. You might feel flat, not only emotionally, but physically. And you have a really hard time finding anything positive within yourself, within your feelings, within your surroundings. Maybe you've lost some interest in things that you used to enjoy. And of course, you prefer the isolation rather than being around others. The emotional numbness works as like a shield. And in it, we feel safe and kind of in control. But sometimes it may be that we are causing more harm than good, because numbing has the added effect of numbing out both positive and negative emotions. For example, it's almost like you can't numb out the feeling of fear without numbing out the feeling of joy. It eventually is going to lead to that kind of cycle. So where's all this coming from? Well, I have been enjoying some really good TED Talks and live videos of Brene Brown. She is a professor, researcher, author, podcaster, and most of all, a doctorate of social work. So you know she's my kind of people. And she's done a lot of studies on shame and vulnerability and, of course, leadership. So I thought maybe we should talk about some of these topics, because I think we're trying to come out of this cloud that has been in our existence for a couple of years now. The only way that we're going to do that is to start opening up to new ideas and letting go of our methods that we've been using to cope in whatever way we've been doing it, because we can't continue to the same behavior. We've got to do something different. We've got to make some changes. We've got to move forward. So back to the numbing. It's this kind of activity that we use especially not to feel vulnerable. And I want to talk about vulnerability for a second. A lot of times we consider that demonstrating any kind of vulnerability is showing a great sign of weakness, or leaving yourself open to a place where you can be attacked. We oftentimes believe that keeping ourselves in this emotional numbness is a way to be strong, a way to hold tight, to show courage. But according to Dr. Brown, courage and vulnerability are actually the same thing. You can't be courageous without allowing yourself to be vulnerable. Man, when I heard her say that, blew my mind. She also says that our desire to be numb to our emotions with a feeling of anxiety, so we get nervous about doing that, is actually powered by shame. So, what does that mean? Well, shame presents itself when we feel fearful or out of control or incapable of dealing with our lives as they become more and more complicated. We get worse and worse and more anxious, believing that we're not enough. Here, shame is the fear of disconnection. And if we were just smarter or stronger or better, we'd be able to handle things. Numbing takes some of that pressure off, and we disconnect from others because we feel like we're not worthy. So it's much easier just to be numb. The funny thing is that connection is actually why we're here. And it's often what gives us purpose and meaning. I mean, that's just how we're made. It's what we sort of enjoy doing. All right, so what do we do? This is more of a surfacey kind of solution, but in the weeks to come, I definitely want to get more and more into the ideas of how to manage specific issues and how we can begin to use courage and vulnerability in the same sentence. All right, so maybe right now you don't feel like doing anything but lying on your very comfy couch, wrapped in a blanket, watching a marathon of Game of Thrones. That is only going to take care of the right now. I want to offer some different ways that we might begin to engage and open up as opposed to avoiding. So the first one, move your body. Yeah, I know. You're feeling like you're frozen. And exercise is not what you want to do. But maybe just get up, walk around the room you're in, shake your arms, maybe put on a catchy song that you like, something that gets you moving. Get up and get outdoors, even if it's just to your front or back porch. Small movements that are intentional can lead to bigger movements or longer time moving around. And before you know it, you're no longer sitting on the couch frozen. How about talking it out? I mean, it's hard to keep everything inside. Not to mention just adding to that rumbling of fire inside your belly that can, at any time, in any place, erupt. It can help if you open up to someone you trust. You could just say, hey, listen, I've noticed that I am not myself lately. I don't feel much. And not only am I uncomfortable, but I don't know how to get out of feeling this way. This bonding experience can give you some relief from that nothingness that you've gotten used to. Maybe you don't want to talk to a friend or family member. That's okay too. Go ahead and join one of those online forums like on Facebook. There's so many groups of people who are experiencing similar things. There are support groups outside in the world. Yes, I did say get out in the world. Or maybe schedule an appointment with a professional such as a therapist or a coach or a pastor. Somebody that you know will lead you in the right direction. How about releasing that pent-up anger? Because I know that a lot of us have it. This world is not easy. Again, this is another good reason to actually get out of your house. Go into the world, tear things up. Maybe get into gardening. If you have the means or the ways, get to a gym. Take a kickboxing class. You can also look up, there's these things called rage rooms. And we have one here in Charleston, and I definitely have wanted to sign up for that post-COVID. You get to go into these rooms. You gear up in safety clothes and you get maybe a hammer, maybe a bat, and you just break shit. It's amazing. And since it's in a safe environment, I definitely want to do this in the near future. It's just a really good way of releasing tension and anger. Another thing you could do is learn about your emotions. There are more emotions than just happy, sad, angry. Actually, there are about 54 emotions to be exact. Create a mood diary by writing down how you're feeling every day at the same time. There's also so many mood tracking apps like My Therapy, Breathe to Relax, iMood, Journal. Look, we're not perfect, and we need to be open to our imperfection. Despite whatever it is you think, we are worthy of connection. We need to believe that we are enough. Let ourselves be seen, love the life we are experiencing, and be grateful for the small and big things that we experience every single day. So let's consider opening up. Let's get vulnerable. Well, I read that if you make it past episode 8, you're doing a good job. So thank you so much for your continued support. I'm really excited that this is going so well, and I'm happy that you're here. Reach out. Our email address is makemewhole@bossesofbliss.com, or you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Bosses of Bliss, or TikTok at Blissful Boss. Remember, complain less and do more. I'll see you next time.